Thor Ragnarok is the third Thor film and it's the 17th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and in this film Hela, the goddess of death, is released from her dungeon and she invades Asgard. She banishes Thor to Sakaar, so now Thor has to beat Hulk in a fight on Sakaar and he has to race back to Asgard in time to stop Ragnarok, the end of everything, and save his people. Thor Ragnarok, straight out the gate, is easily the best Thor film of the bunch because the first two Thor films had kind of this regal feel to them, you know, like talking about the monarchy of Asgard and talking about being a noble king and whatnot. This film has bits of that in there, of course, but it mostly ditches it for a Guardians of the Galaxy-esque colourful space adventure, and it's really enjoyable. I had a lot of fun with Thor Ragnarok, something that I can't say about the first two Thor films. The whole cast look like they're having a great time making this film. Chris Hemsworth is really great as Thor once again. Tom Hiddleston as Loki, really cool to see that guy back, just so much charisma. It was great to see the Hulk back on screen. He had some really cool moments of him just destroying stuff. Mark Ruffalo was once again really good as Bruce Banner. Did the Hulk need to be in this film? Not really. I mean, if he wasn't in there, it wouldn't be much different in terms of the storyline. You just wouldn't have that big fight between him and Thor in the arena on Sakaar, which was really cool. And there's one fight that he has later on that wouldn't be there either, so it wouldn't have been much different without the Hulk in it, but I was still glad that they put him in it because it's Hulk. And Hulk is awesome. Also, Valkyrie was a really cool character as well. She's kind of a drunk, down on her luck Asgardian who's on Sakaar trying to forget her past, and she has some really good moments as well. She's kicking ass, and you really kind of connect with her as well. Also, Idris Elba gets a little bit more to do as Heimdall this time around. He's not just stood there with a sword waiting for people to come through the Bifrost. He actually gets to kick some ass. There is a lot of humour in this film, and to be fair, if you don't like the Marvel style humour, you're not going to enjoy this film that much because there's lots of attempts at comedy in this film, and there were some jokes that were a little bit unnecessary and some of them didn't really land, but I'd say about 80% of the humour in this film actually worked for me. I found myself chuckling. I wasn't like laughing out loud or roaring hysterical or anything like that, but I found myself chuckling throughout most of this film. The comedy really did work, and it wasn't just a full-on joke fest either. It did a pretty good job at balancing the humour in the story. Ragnarok isn't a perfect film, unfortunately. I do have one or two flaws with it. The biggest flaw I have with this film is that they didn't really feel like there was a sense of urgency to it. Thor gets banished to Sakaar and he keeps saying that he needs to go back to Asgard and stop Hela, but you never really feel that need to really rush back and stop everything from going down. Every time it cuts back to Hela, she doesn't really do much throughout the entire film. She goes to Asgard, she wipes out a lot of Asgard soldiers, but she spends most of the film just sitting around and explaining Asgard history and mythology to Karl Urban's character. It's not until the end of the film where she finally starts fighting some people, but she doesn't do much throughout the film, and you never really feel like you need to race back to Asgard and stop whatever's about to happen, Ragnarok, the end of everything. There's also this moment in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the film which is pretty significant and quite big, but it didn't feel as significant as it wanted to be. It didn't have the weight or the emotion that it needed for it to fully land with you because it's an emotional thing that happens, and I just didn't really feel an emotional response to it. But overall, Thor Ragnarok is really enjoyable. It's got cool characters, some really good humour, the soundtrack is awesome, the musical score has kind of this like sci-fi symphonic vibe to it in the background, and there's also some good songs in there like the Immigrant Song that's going to be stuck in your head like it is for me. And unlike the first two Thor films, it's a fun, colourful space adventure that I can see myself easily rewatching more than the first two Thor films. I didn't fully love this film as much as I was hoping to. I was expected to walk out of the film going, oh my god, that was insanely awesome. I didn't feel like that, but I still walked out of Thor Ragnarok having had a really good time, so I'm going to give Thor Ragnarok a 4 out of 5. And yes, as always, there's a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. Stay for the mid-credit scene. You don't need to stay for the post-credit scene because it's something that's played for comedy. So Thor Ragnarok, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Do you like it more than the first two Thor films? And what do you think of it compared to the rest of the MCU so far? Whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comments below, and if you want to see more of my stuff, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.